Halley's Comet. For centuries, comets have been one of our biggest mysteries. They are among the most beautiful and interesting sights in the universe. People from all over the world have been surprised and often scared by the sight of a comet blazing across the sky. Edmund Halley, an astronomer in the late 1600s, was very interested in comets. He studied them for most of his life. Part of Halley's studies involved measuring the paths of comets through the night sky. Halley learned that comets move around the sun in a path of an ellipse. An ellipse is like a circle that has been stretched out in one direction. He determined that because comets travel in an elliptical path, the same comet could be seen from Earth again and again. This was a brand new concept during that time. In 1682, Halley noticed a comet that was especially bright and large. He spent a long time studying it. Then it disappeared from view. Based on his calculations, Halley predicted that this bright comet would return in 1758 or 1759. This was about 75 years after he first saw the comet. However, Halley died in 1742. Thus, he was not able to see that he was correct. This same bright comet returned right on time. Not long after that, because Halley had learned so much about it, the comet was named Halley's Comet in his honor. Scientists who had been following Halley's work began to look back through history. They learned that for centuries there had been mention of a comet in the sky about every 75 years, going all the way back to 467 BC. Often, the return of Halley's Comet seemed to coincide with important events in history. For many years, people believed that Halley's Comet caused catastrophes, from sicknesses to war. Since then, scientists have learned more about comets. They now know that comets do not cause bad events. They also have learned what comets are like. All comets consist of a head and a tail. Some comets' tails are longer than others. The head is made mostly of ice, plus some dust and pieces of rock. U.S. astronomer Fred Whipple coined the phrase dirty snowballs to describe comets. Comets move through the sky very quickly. However, their speed depends on how close they are to the sun. When Halley's Comet is farthest from the sun, or at its aphelion, it moves about 2,040 miles per hour. When it is closest to the sun, or at its perihelion, it moves an amazing 122,000 miles per hour. For a long time, scientists wondered where comets came from. Today, most scientists believe that comets come from an unseen cloud of particles called the Oort cloud. This cloud probably surrounds our solar system. It may contain somewhere between 10 and 100 trillion comets. People today remain fascinated by the celestial time traveler. The most recent visit from Halley's Comet was 1985 through 1986. This time, the scientists all over the world studied the comet. Two Soviet spacecraft, the Vega 1 and Vega 2, got a close look at the comet as it raced around the sun. Halley's Comet should return in 2061. Who knows what high-tech equipment will be around to study it then. However, other comets are periodically discovered, making a once-in-a-lifetime visit. If you get the chance to study one of the stellar fireballs, do so. You'll be thrilled. Number 1. Read the sentence. For many years, people believed that Halley's Comet caused catastrophes, from sickness to war. What was the best synonym for catastrophes? A. Disasters. B. Celebrations. C. Nightmares. D. Solutions. Number 2. Which statement best describes the overall structure of the passage? A. It describes why Edmund Halley became interested in comets and then explains the science behind comets. B. It explains why Halley's Comet is important to science and compares it to other comets. C. It explains what comets are made of, where they come from, and when people will see the Halley's Comet again. D. It explains the history of Halley's Comet and what scientists have learned about comets since Halley's appearance in 1759. Number 3. Where do scientists believe comets come from? A. The Milky Way galaxy. B. The Oort cloud. C. Edmund Halley. D. Constellations. Number 4. Why was the comet named Halley's Comet? A. He was the first person to see the comet. B. He correctly predicted the comet's return. C. He studied comets for most of his life. D. He was the first astronomer to study comets. Number 5. Which detail which detail below does not support a main idea of this story? A. Edwin Halley, an astronomer in the late 1600s, was very interested in comets. B. Halley learned that comets move around the sun in a path of an ellipse. C. However, Halley died in 1742, thus he was not able to see that he was correct. D. U.S. astronomer Fred Whipple coined the phrase dirty snowballs to describe comets.